We're running out of time. And look what you have done. We just got done with the final play session of Mortal Kombat 11. And believe it or not, at the end of playing this game with Scarlet and playing all the other characters, believe it or not, I like the game even more than I ever have now. It feels weird, mostly because the whole neutral aspect of the game of really feeling each other out and the opponents, it ends up feeling really good when you get used to it. And it has definitely an ease-in period. As far as like how I felt that's differently than before, the game was sort of warming up to me, and at the end of this one, I actually really like it. Playing Scarlet, as well as Baraka and Sub-Zero. I don't love these characters by any means. I do hope there's another character that really screams to me, but the one thing that I would love to see changed about the game is definitely some more options for the characters. The roughest part of MK11 right now is the fact that there's just not a lot to do with each character that's in the game right now. There's just not a lot. You kind of stick to these few moves, and that's the way it goes. So many of the fights can feel super samey, and that can hopefully be alleviated with the variations. It can hopefully be alleviated with other special moves potentially being a bit better. But the way the specials kind of work in the game right now, I don't think that'll actually be the case, really. It might change stuff a little bit. But for the most part, a lot of stuff that Baraka has and a lot of stuff that Scorpion has are very obvious which ones are supposed to be the good moves. And I hope that changes, man. I really hope that they put like more options to combo from. There was way more limited stuff that Scorpion could combo from in this build than the previous build, which is unfortunate. They just need to open that stuff up. Like, we don't need to have more strings per character to open up for combo paths. What we would need is dash speed, which leads me to number 2. Dash speed. If dashes were faster in MK11, that could open up the game to feel a lot more like MK9. Because the game, in my opinion, doesn't really feel like MK9. It's a lot of walking, and MK9's a little fast-paced with close-range pressure and a ton of strings and a ton of combo options all over the place. This game, I don't think is going to get the combo options. It's not going to get a ton of strings per character. But if the dash speed was increased, just hear me out here, one thing that made MK9 really unique and actually kind of had this executional barrier was that when you eventually got something to pop someone up, or you were dashing and blocking, that had a certain amount of skill set to it. You needed to time the amount of time they were landing to the floor when you dash, when you would cancel the dash with a button. So you could do like dash 1, dash 1, dash 1, 2, and then go for smoke bomb or whatever the hell when I was playing the game. And I really enjoyed that. I'm like, wow, there's actually this unique executional barrier to this game that makes it kind of challenging, and these combos are somewhat fun as a result, especially in the corner. And right now, with MK11, since the dashes are so slow and not really worth using, imagine if MK11 had dash speed that was quick and fast, sort of like MK9, and was actually faster than a game like MKX, because MKX's dashes took forever. I want the dashes to be quick, but not, like, obviously insane, and dash canceling could open up the combo opportunities a ton. Like, this game could change severely if they just allowed that. And it might be a little crazy, but to be brutally honest, every fighting game, every vanilla version of every fighting game is busted as sin. There has never been a vanilla fighting game that comes out that is just squeaky clean. Every single one that comes out is horribly busted, so if a lot of people are questioning the aspects of the game and the mobility, I don't know why they wouldn't just try changing it. And if it doesn't work out, then they can change it back. Like, that could be a part of their balance process. So, I really hope that it ends up you end up having more options per character, because the characters feel very limited. It feels very much designed that the character is supposed to do this way. You're supposed to cancel into this special from that. You're not supposed to do this. We're not going to allow you to do that. Like, there's a lot of, like, red tape over some characters, it feels like, in terms of what they cannot do. And this very much reminds me of another fighting game that was in a beta period, where characters went through multiple iterations in that beta period for the worse. And the early versions of the game were a lot of fun, and the more we got to play the game, the less the characters can do, and the less the characters can do, and the less the characters could do. And by the time the game came out, we were like, okay, so it's gonna be all better when the game comes out, right? They're gonna add all this cool stuff. And no shit, when the game came out, there was even less stuff the characters could do. So that game was Street Fighter V. And while there is some similarities to the gameplay of MK11 being sort of a grounded footsie game, a really fun one. I think I liked this game more than Street Fighter V initially, just by the way you whiff punish and heal each other out. It just feels very fun. I very much hope the game doesn't take that route. I hope the game comes out and there's more stuff we can do per character instead of less. Because if it ends up being less, they are quite literally following the direct pixel perfect path of Street Fighter V. And that game took a long time for it to eventually warm up to its audience and the people that eventually like SF5. Like, there were some rough years, not just for the folks that, you know, casual passerbys, doesn't have any story, no content, you know, etc. A lot of people that were just core Street Fighter players were really miffed by some stuff in the game, and it still sort of haunts it to this day. It's gotten a lot better, and it's in the better state than it ever has been right now, but it's been almost 3 years, and it's grown a lot since then. So all I'm saying is, my god, I hope MK11 doesn't repeat the same path. I don't want to have to wait, well, you don't even get to wait 2 years. There's Injustice 3's gonna be out by then. I only hope that they take some of this stuff to heart, because a lot of people are mentioning the same thing. Pro players, casual players alike. I love the way the game is right now. I actually have a lot of fun with it. I would not be disappointed, like super disappointed, if the game came out and there was not many changes. But I think I'd be a lot happier if we can do more stuff with these characters. I just want to do more cool things, because I'm repeating the same 1-2 button strings, or 1-2-3 cancel into this button string, and walk forward, walk back, whiff punish with this button string, and that's pretty much how the game goes. And then you have your reliable 1 or 2 combos that work mid-screen or in the corner, and that's about it. There has not been a ton of stuff discovered, and even between the 3 days there has been a beta and a lot of people fighting each other and training on each other, I haven't seen many other crazy combos. I'm kind of doing them, and they're not very hard. So that's what I mean, is that I would love to see there be a bit more variety with the game, because I find it to be so much damn fun that I think it could be taken to a much higher level, because I'm a little worried that it could get dry very fast if people keep seeing the same exact thing over and over and over again. I do think executional barriers are needed in fighting games, but there needs to be a distinct level of, like, okay, now you're gonna get up here, and here's the cool, crazy stuff that you can start doing if you start taking advantage of this stuff, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of that in the game right now. And I am still worried for casuals. I think this game is not super casual friendly. Yeah, every character's moves are easy to do, their combos are easy to do, so you're like, man, casuals should have an easy as hell time. But if you get a character like Scarlet or even Baraka, like, out-zoning you and out-footseeing you, you feel like you can't do anything. I've had more flawless wins in this game than I had in the entirety of, like, the 2,000 matches I had in MKX. I'm not shitting you. That's crazy so far. And I'm on the same playtime as, like, a lot of other people. And even though I had the early playtime, like the 4 hours with the builds before, I didn't have nearly an understanding of the game as I do right now. And that really came as a result of this stress test, this first stress test. So I really, really, really hope that there's more stuff to do with the characters, because if there is, that's not going to scare casuals away. Casuals care about being able to do the moves, much less having the characters and the stages. Like, the number one thing that appeals to casuals is characters and stages. And the story mode, obviously. And I have never been a fan, or I've never been an aggregate of fighting games sort of toning their mechanics down to sort of appeal to a greater audience. I don't think it's ever worked. Like, maybe, like, some people with Street Fighter V like the fact that the game is, like, easier to play, but for the most part, I don't think it's really ever been successful, and Street Fighter V has never had that element of success in terms of sales. It's never really worked. And even games like Smash Brothers, which is a perfect example, the new Smash Brothers has a ton of characters, a ton of stages, a shit ton of people bought it, like one of the best-selling games ever now, and it actually has a ton more mechanical depth than its previous game. It's actually harder to play than its previous game, because they refined all these mechanics, and they actually tweaked a lot of the game for people that like the competitive aspect of Smash. So, in my opinion, I don't agree with games being toned down, but I think they're in a sweet spot with MK11, because the more I've played it, and the more I really enjoy it, and the more I want to find a character that I love to play. So, I have a lot of hopes. I hope some stuff doesn't change at the same time, because that core gameplay is a lot of fun. But man, let's do more stuff with the characters. Please, more stuff with the characters. The online is so good. The game looks amazing. Like, it's the best looking, like graphic fidelity fighting game there is right now. MK11 beats the shit out of everything else. I'm already thinking back to all the gameplay moments I have, and I can't wait. I can't wait for the beta, and I hope the beta has more characters, man, because it is a lot of damn fun.